When most people think of lemurs, this is who comes to mind. The ring-tailed lemur, celebrated for their striking cat-like appearance and their signature bushy tails that are ringed with exactly 13 black bands and 13 white bands. You may not be aware of the tremendous diversity of lemur species. Roughly 110 lemur species all live on the island of Madagascar and are found nowhere else in the world. So what are lemurs? Lemurs are prosimians. They evolved from ancestral primates that originated in Africa. Although primates, they evolved independently from monkeys and apes. They're closely related to lorises, patos, and galagos. All prosimians belong to a suborder of primates called strepsirini, a Latin term that refers to their moist, hairless noses. Lemurs' noses are more snout-like than simian primates, which are monkeys and apes. Madagascar sits 250 miles, or 400 kilometers, off the coast of Mozambique, Africa. It's theorized that lemurs made the crossing between 40 and 65 million years ago on rafts of vegetation after being swept out to sea during a storm. Without predators, they spread throughout the island and evolved into many different species as they adapted to Madagascar's diverse ecosystems. Today, they vary widely in appearance, social organization, locomotion, dietary preferences, and size, ranging in size from tiny mouse lemurs that are about 5 inches or 12 centimeters long to the 3-foot or 90 centimeter tall indri, the largest of the group. Their many and diverse differences reflect their adaptations for their many and diverse ecosystems. Most lemurs are nocturnal, awake and active at night. Some are crepuscular, awake and active at dawn and dusk, and some are cathemeral, active during day and night in irregular patterns. Only about 20% of Madagascar's lemurs are diurnal, that is, awake and active during the day. How lemurs perceive their world is as different as the lemurs themselves. Like all primates, lemurs have forward-facing eyes which provide binocular or stereoscopic vision. This characteristic allows animals to see and judge depth. Nocturnal lemurs have especially large eyes with dichromatic color perception that mutes color vision and enhances textures and contrast. After all, who needs color vision in the dark? Diurnal and cathemeral lemurs are more likely to have trichromatic color vision, seeing the color spectrum as we do. Among some lemur species, only females have trichromatic color vision, while males have dichromatic vision. Very important for lemurs is how they smell their world. We mentioned earlier that their noses are moist, hairless, and more snout-like than those of monkeys and apes. This tells us that they rely more heavily on their sense of smell than do other primates. Their snouts hold an astounding number of olfactory receptors that give them an impressive sense of smell. The resulting heightened sense of smell has many purposes, the most obvious being that they can smell that which they may not be able to see in dense foliage, or, in the case of the majority of lemurs who are nocturnal, under the cover of darkness. It's also a communication tool. Lemurs have oily scent glands on their chests, on the insides of their arms, and, well, on other body parts. When they rub the secretions on branches and other objects, they leave important messages. It's like lemur social media, and it says, "I was here, this is who I am, I'm a female or I'm a male, and if you're interested, swing on by because I'm ready to mate." Grooming is an important activity for all lemurs. Some participate in social grooming, while those who are more solitary groom only themselves, and some do both. They have special built-in tools for keeping their dense coats clean and parasite-free. A group of lower teeth is arranged to form what's referred to as a tooth comb. While grooming, they run this comb of teeth through their fur for a deep clean. Beneath their primary tongue, a secondary tongue or sublingua removes hair and debris from the tooth comb. Another adaptation for self-grooming is the grooming or toilet claw. Lemurs have flat fingernails as we do, except for this specialized grooming claw on the second toe of the foot. All lemurs are arboreal, but some spend significant amounts of time on the ground, and some traverse steep and frighteningly sharp limestone cliffs. Their modes of travel evolved with them to accommodate their ecosystems, dietary habits, and selective pressures like grasping, manipulating objects, leaping, climbing, and balancing. Most famously, Indries and Shifox, with their shorter arms and powerful long legs, cling, leap, and walk in explosive vertical bounds. So, who are lemurs? There are 5 lemur families, and we'll look at each individually. Eyes are the largest nocturnal lemur and among the most peculiar animals on Earth. At first glance, they may be a little creepy looking, but they get cuter the longer you look. Along with their short snouts, pink noses, ever-growing incisors, large ears, and bushy tails, their abnormally long and bony third finger is a vital feeding tool. They use it to tap branches and listen for cavities that might hold insect larvae. This form of echolocation-type hunting is unique for primates. Unfortunately, because of their somewhat eerie appearance, local folklore holds them as omens of bad luck, and they're persecuted for it. Eyes may look strange, but they're perfectly built for their environment and lifestyle. The Andreidae group includes the 3 largest living lemurs. Shifox are active during the day and are known for their sneeze-like calls, for which they're named. Woolly lemurs, or avahis, the smallest of the group, and perhaps surprisingly nocturnal, have thick woolly fur and small ears. Indries, the largest living lemurs, are active during the day. With their black and white fur and whale-like songs, unique among lemurs, their tails are short at just 2 inches, 5 centimeters. What unites all 3 is their vertical clinging and powerful leaping, their preferred habitats, and their similar diets. Not as large as those in the Andreidae group, but larger than most other lemurs, true lemurs are diurnal, active during the day. Some species within this group are sexually dichromatic. That is, males and females of the same species exhibit different coloring. Some are bamboo specialists, some are the Earth's largest pollinators, some famously assume their best yoga pose and sunbathe to warm their bodies, which helps regulate their temperature and discourages parasites like ticks, fleas, and lice. These include some of the best-known species, like the ring-tailed lemurs. Sportive lemurs are medium-sized lemurs. They live in trees and they're mostly solitary. They're also nocturnal. They sleep during the day in tree holes, tangles of branches, or in the forks of trees. The mouse and dwarf lemur group are the smallest of the lemurs. All are nocturnal and all are arboreal. Uniquely, some dwarf and mouse lemur species are the only primates that experience hibernation or enter a hibernation-like state called torpor. Torpor is a sleep-like state in which organs slow down, temperature decreases, and metabolic rate drops, allowing them to survive on their fat reserves. These are critical survival strategies during Madagascar's dry season when food and water are scarce. I mentioned earlier that when lemurs' ancestors arrived in Madagascar from mainland Africa, they had no predators, which is how they spread so rapidly. Well, about 20 to 25 million years ago, an ancient mongoose-like ancestor also arrived from mainland Africa and became the fossa. This cat-like carnivore is an example of convergent evolution, having evolved many cat-like features and filling a cat's apex predator role. Fossas may be their primary predators, other than humans who also hunt them, but the greatest threat to all lemurs is habitat loss due to deforestation, largely for agriculture and for logging. Additionally, climate change is severely impacting Madagascar, leading to more frequent and intense droughts, cyclones, and floods, which threaten food, clean water, and shelter for all of the island's unique biodiversity. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, about 98% of lemur species are considered threatened with extinction. This makes them one of the most endangered groups of animals in the world. Thanks for joining me on this adventure into primate conservation. I'm Deborah Curtin, the founder of New England Primate Conservancy. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel.